What's up, Lego builders? Welcome back to episode 2 of A Man and His Bricks. Today, I'm going to be reviewing what went on in January, how I know by January, when talking about a very special non-Lego Star Wars set, and talking about what it's like to be monetized, as well as getting to some great questions by you guys. You guys nailed it, hit it out of the park with the questions. You guys really understood kind of what I was looking for and what kind of questions I was hoping to get. So thank you all for that. I will be getting to those as well. Real quick, before we get into the episode, I would like to announce that I'm going to be doing this podcast more frequently than I had initially planned. At first, I was thinking about doing once a month, but I really enjoyed it, and it sounded like you guys really enjoyed it as well. So I think I'm going to be upping the ante a little. We're going to be doing maybe bi-weekly, every 3 weeks, we'll see. But stay tuned for a lot more of these, and I'll announce more kind of what's going on as things progress and as I figure out more. But all that being said, let's hit the intro and get this podcast started. All right. Segment number 1, Life of an AFOL. How has my life been going? First thing I want to talk about is my dry January, kind of give you guys a recap of how it went. For those of you guys who are unfamiliar with that, I basically went the entire month of January trying not to buy any sets, any Lego sets of any kind, and no Bricklink purchases. Basically, no Lego purchases in the month of January, trying to kind of detox, cleanse my system, and kind of learn to really appreciate what I currently have. It went pretty well. I didn't buy any sets. There wasn't really much of a temptation. I was not a fan of the new Lego Star Wars wave, so didn't try to pick up any of that. Unfortunately, I did not make it a month with the Bricklink orders, but I'm okay with that. I made it, I think, 2.5 weeks. But I need parts for Utapau. I need to keep working on stuff. I was putting together some tri-joids. I felt like it was important for the continual progression of Utapau to get more parts in. So I did end up ordering more parts, but not too concerned with that. But I still consider it a win because I was really able to go some time with just working with the pieces I had and just kind of appreciating and enjoying what I had and not spending money, obviously, which was probably the most important thing there. I might make it a annual thing, just picking a month. I did do it last year as well. I did a month of no spending. I can't remember if it was just eBay or if it was other stuff as well, but it's definitely something I would recommend doing if you feel like you buy a lot of Lego. A great way to kind of detox from that is just to take a month and just enjoy what you have, focus on your collection, displaying, building your backlog, working on a mock or something like that. Speaking of sets, though, it is a new month, and I started off the month day 1 by buying a Lego set. I bought the medieval blacksmith set. I was beyond excited to get that set. I was hyped. I was waiting. I went day 1. If you guys are interested and you haven't seen it yet, I did post a vlog, kind of vlogging my experience of going down to the Lego store and picking up that set in person. I wanted to get it day 1 because I wanted to build it as soon as possible. I did stream it yesterday, which was nice. I haven't gotten it finished. It's actually sitting right there behind me, partially built. So I'll be finishing that this coming Wednesday on a live stream. But the blacksmith shop, why am I so excited about it? It's not a Lego Star Wars set. A lot of you guys may have been kind of surprised with how excited I was and how much I've enjoyed the set. And I just want to take a second to explain why. I love Lego Star Wars, I love medieval sets. I love castle sets. Growing up, that was what was more accessible to me. Lego Star Wars is a bit pricey, and the castle stuff was cheaper, and it was really fun. Ever since I can remember, I've loved castles and I've loved knights. In fact, when I was really little, my mom made me a birthday cake, which was a castle. It had like a bunch of dinosaurs attacking the castle, because that's what I would do is I would build giant castles out of these toys that I had. They weren't Lego, but you could still kind of assemble them. And I would assemble these castles and I would have my dinosaurs kind of attacking the castle. So as long as I can remember, I've loved that kind of stuff. And building Lego castles growing up, building giant armies of knights and orcs is just so much fun. And I really love the architecture behind medieval stuff. A lot of Star Wars vehicles and machines are very efficient. They're very kind of, I don't want to say shapeless, but the focus is, it's a war machine. It's not built to look super pretty or super fancy. But with Castle, you get nice masonry bricks, you get fine little details, you get little guardhouses, differences between Lego wood buildings and Lego stone buildings. So it's a much more immersive building experience, in my opinion. Obviously, I do love building Lego Star Wars sets, but a lot of them are, you build a frame and then you just put panels around that frame to kind of create the shape of the ship or whatever you're building. But with medieval stuff, it's a lot more intricate than that. And I've really seen that and enjoyed it with the blacksmith shop. So that's kind of why I like the medieval blacksmith so much, is because it's just, this wave of nostalgia. And it's kind of like, it's an adult style set. You know what I mean? It's like it's the 18 plus line. So It's definitely up my alley, and I feel like a way that I can enjoy Castle as an adult. Because if I went back and bought a lot of the old Castle sets I used to own, I'm sure I'd be kind of disappointed with how simplistic and kind of how plain and small they were. But the Blacksmith shop is definitely a much more challenging build. So I really enjoyed that I was able to recreate that fun experience I had as a kid as an adult. So I would definitely recommend getting the Blacksmith if you haven't bought it yet. If you're kind of on the fence about it, obviously, if you're not interested, don't buy it. But if you're on the fence about it, don't worry. It's absolutely worth it. It's a great display piece, great build. Talking about the Blacksmith is kind of my segue into my next or is kind of my segue into my next thing I want to talk about, which is why do I only buy Lego Star Wars sets if I'm such a huge fan of Castle? And that is because of how I structured my channel and kind of how I went about trying to be successful on YouTube. When I started YouTube, I thought about like, what are my options here? I love Lego as a whole. I love a lot of the lines. And so I can either try and dabble in a lot of different Lego lines and create mocks and reviews for all these different, kinds of Lego sets, or I can pick one line and focus on that and really brand myself and set my channel apart as like a Lego Star Wars channel, a Lego City channel, Lego Ninjago channel. And I'm definitely the most passionate about Lego Star Wars. And I knew if I was going to pick a single line, it had to be something I was very passionate about and very exciting, and also one that was very broad and a very extensive line that so that way I wouldn't get bored of the kind of content I was doing. I would have lots of ideas, and Star Wars definitely encapsulated all of that for me because I am a huge Star Wars fan outside of Lego. Like I have lots of books, I love reading about the lore, I love watching the movies. So I felt like with Star Wars, I'd have the best chance or the best opportunity to kind of brand myself as a certain Lego channel and really kind of set myself apart. And just with all the different kinds of mocks I can create, there's a very extensive universe, lots of reference material that I'm able to take from to produce content. However, that being said, once I kind of get bigger and grow a large audience and a large viewing, I would like to dabble in other lines, especially Castle. I want to build a giant Castle mock so bad. That's definitely something that's on my bucket list. So stay tuned for some big changes to Coconut Brick Studios. I'm not going to permanently deviate from Star Wars. However, I would like to take a break at some point and do like a Castle mock or just something of that nature, while still putting out Star Wars content for you guys. So that's kind of a little bit as to why I'm so focused on Lego Star Wars, even though I'm such a huge Lego fan in general. Last thing I wanted to talk about on the podcast for Life of an AFL is something that was very exciting. Something very exciting happened, and that was my channel got monetized since my last episode. It was just an incredible experience because I got monetized about a week after I hit my 2-year mark on YouTube. So it was really cool to have those two unique events kind of coincide so closely together because it's something I've been working towards since day one. This channel has always been like, I want to, make sure it's fun and make sure I'm just having fun, doing something I'm passionate about. But that being said, I knew going into this is something I wanted to turn into a substantial form of income at some point. So even though, my main focus is like inspiring others, building, and just creating good content, the money aspect is still a very big part of it. So to finally achieve that has just been so gratifying. And it's not like I'm making, tons of money. It's not like I'm quitting my job tomorrow to do Lego YouTube full time, but it's just like reaching that step and finally crossing that hurdle of the 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time that really just took such a huge weight off my shoulder. And I was like, yes, I made it. Like now I can really start to make something of my channel financially. So I want to give a huge shout out and a huge thank you to you guys who've watched my videos, liked my videos, commented, supported me. And a huge thank you to all of my donators back there on the Clone Trooper wall. I've been blown away with how many people have donated and how generous you guys have been with your donations. I truly appreciate it. And it's all going back to the channel, to making it better and improving it, and putting out better mocks and content for you guys. Time to move on to the next segment, which is my Q&A segment. So this is a themed Q&A segment. I don't just take any questions. What I do is I throw out a theme for you guys, be like, hey, all the questions, are related to this. And so last episode's theme was, or the theme that I was going to pick for this episode was Lego Mocs. If I remember correctly, I don't even remember my own theme, but I'm pretty sure like anything to do with Lego Mocs. And you guys have some awesome questions. Like we're going to get right into it. No time wasted. The first one is from the Brick Council. And he says, I really enjoy building mocks and also Lego sets. And I feel like I have to pick between one or the other. Have you ever had a situation where you wanted to buy a set but couldn't because of a mock idea you also were excited about, and vice versa? If so, How did you make the tough decisions? Man, this is a daily struggle for me, guys, because my mocks are getting more and more expensive, and it's gotten to the point where I've kind of had to stop buying as many Lego sets as I used to. I used to have a pretty steady stream of Lego sets coming in while doing mocks, and I would say how I make the tough decisions is how I prioritize, because what's most important to me, right? What's most important to me right now is putting out good content that I'm excited about, that I'm passionate about, and that does really well. And for me, I've found that is mocks, right? My reviews don't do as well. I'm not as excited about them. Just they don't give me the same feeling of fulfillment as my mocks do. So that's kind of how I prioritize right now, is like, what kind of content am I able to produce with this set or with this, bag of parts or whatever it is. So that's what I would say in answer to that question, is like, what's the most important to you right now? Are you trying to grow your collection? Are you trying to, put out a nice collection video? Or are you trying to get into reviews? Do you really want to get more into mock building? Because, for most of us, it's kind of one or the other. You can't have your cake and eat it. We've got to choose, because all of us, we don't all have just disposable incomes that we can spend on tons of mocks and Legos. That being said, this year I would like to get back into collecting a little bit. We'll see. Now that I've built up kind of a nice supply of parts, I'm hoping I won't have to spend as much money as I have been on mocks, because I have a large section of filler brick built up and just all kinds of different parts. So I might start buying more sets going forward. Hope that answered your question. It was a little bit rambly, but thank you. My answer was a little bit rambly, but thank you for the question, TBC. The next question is from Cheese on Top 17. He says, how do you know which pieces to get at Pick-a-Brick? Specifically, which ones are cheaper there than Bricklink without looking it up? Honestly, I don't have a great answer for this, because I don't buy from the Pick-a-Brick wall. The best answer I can give you is just knowing typically what pieces are expensive, right? Any kind of like non-main color is going to be kind of pricey. Dark tan, dark orange, purple, kind of the rare colors are definitely going to be more expensive on Bricklink. So I'd imagine they'd be a little bit cheaper on the Pick-a-Brick wall. And I would just say the best advice I could give for that is spending the time on Bricklink and Pick-a-Brick, right? That's the best thing you can do, is going back and forth. And then by doing that, slowly learning and comparing, because that's basically how I've been able to find, the best prices for a certain piece on Bricklink. I'm like, okay, I've bought this piece enough. I know how much it should be, and I know how much people typically charge, so I can kind of base it off of that. So it really just comes with time and applying yourself to figuring out, like, where's the best place to buy what. Next question comes to us courtesy of SW Bricks and Figs. He says, let's see, what are your top 5 mocks you've ever seen? This one was a tough question. I had to really think about this one, just because I've seen a lot of mocks in my day and a lot of really good mocks. I'd say, though, if I had to pick 5, and this is in no particular order, I'd say number 1, I'd have to do Vardos mock, Rich Boy J. That mock is incredible. Like, he has 3 UCS-sized vehicles in that mock, and they don't even dominate the mock. That's just crazy that you have a mock so big and so complex that you can have 3 massive, ships and vehicles in there, and they kind of just accent the mock nicely. And he's got that large red statue, the giant building, the lights, all of it. It's just, if you want to get into mock building and you want to be really technical and just like create works of art masterpieces, I would highly recommend following and learning from Rich Boy J. He's just on a level of his own. Number 2 would have to be Chris Productions mock. I think it was the finale for his Clones Alone series he did. I don't exactly remember the name of the mock itself, but it's just like this giant domed base with like a large bridge coming off of it, and just the epic scale of the battle. His battles are just always so epic. You've got tons of ATTEs, you've got tons of gunships, you've got these massive clone bases. This was during the golden era of Lego Star Wars clone bases. You guys all remember, or a lot of you guys probably remember that era. Everyone was just cranking out these massive clone bases, and he definitely took advantage of that hype and did wonderful, great things. So I would definitely have to say his would be up there for me. Number 3 is one that's not talked about a whole lot, but I think it's absolutely incredible. It's this massive Mustafar mock, and it's built in micro scale, because you can see down kind of at the bottom, there's like a little Lambda class shuttle flying around, and it looks like it's a micro scale version. So for this mock to be as big as it is and to be in micro scale is just insane. Like, I feel like he was able to put so much more detail into this mock because he created it in micro scale. Micro scale being like, it wasn't built for minifigures, it was built like even smaller than figure scale, if that makes sense. And I think it's about 60,000 pieces, which is just insane. Just the detail of the lava, like this is one of those few mocks where there like isn't a large battle or something going on, but it's still just so cool to look at and so interesting. That to me speaks a lot to his ability to create cool structures and just realistic looking mocks. Because you don't have to have a large amount of clones for the mock to be cool. You don't have to have all these vehicles. Just the build itself is what you enjoy. And then probably I'd have to throw in there number 4, just for pure nostalgia and epicness. Just for pure nostalgia's sake, would be David Hall's Kashyyyk mock. That was one of the first large scale mocks I ever laid eyes on, and just, I mean, we've all talked about it. We've seen it. What more can you say? It's just such a big mock. And my 5th mock would have to be my Utapau mock. No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't put one of my own mocks in there. Number 5, I'd have to go with, right off the top of my head, is probably First Order Legos, or Lucar, I guess as he's called now, his Attack on the Jedi Temple, the one that he put out not too long ago. Holy cow, that one is just, it's a technical masterpiece. Like the way the windows are built, just the Jedi statues, the library section, it just looks so good. It's not the largest mock, it's pretty small compared to the other ones I've listed, but just the way he was able to bring that scene to life and make it look so realistic and just so vivid is just speaks a lot to his ability to tell a story through Lego. All right, next question comes from Nico Bricks. He says, what are your suggestions to somebody like me who can't get a job because of their age and wants money to buy Lego? I would say a great way to earn money is to sell Lego. As surprising it, well, maybe not surprising. A lot of people have dabbled in selling Lego, but it's obviously not a full-time job. But if you're, young, can't really have a job and you need money coming in, that is a great way to just pull in, an extra few $100. I myself have done very, very well selling Lego. I actually sold about, I think it was almost $4,000 worth of Lego in 2020. So if you play your cards right, and if you really, pay attention and look for deals, you can do pretty well. I also have this article that I read not too long ago. I'll put a link to it down in the description, but the title is How an 18-Year-Old Has Made More Than $30,000 in 3 years Selling Lego Online. So this is kind of a guy in our similar situation who wasn't really able to find a job, and he started out just like selling sets on eBay. From there, it turned into him actually starting his own business where he sells sets for people. So people will come in contact with him and be like, hey, can you sell these for me? And he'll sell them and take part of the profit. And then he also he gets a bunch of stormtroopers or different kinds of clone troopers, or I'm not really sure what, but he basically builds like these little armies and sells them in bulk. So, someone looking for a large amount of minifigures can buy them. So it all started out really small, just him reselling sets he didn't need anymore, or pieces he didn't need anymore, so he could fund new pieces. And so it doesn't have to, start out large where your first sale you make $300 $200 of profit. It really just starts with you trying, and if you don't have a lot of Lego to sell in the beginning, maybe just be patient, look for deals online. There's always deals on eBay. If you look, there's deals at Walmart, deals at stores. Just start out small, start out with what you have, sell little by little, and eventually you can build it into something pretty big. All right, last question of the day is from Micah Knight Productions. He says, who is your biggest inspiration for mock building when you started building large scale mocks? Oh, this is one I had to think about for a while because it's been so long since I started, and I didn't, when I started, I wasn't doing mocks, I was doing reviews. So honestly, I would have to say definitely Solid Brick Studios was a big inspiration for me because I hadn't been exposed to any other mock builders other than him. So his mocks were definitely a big inspiration for me. Just seeing how large his mocks were able to be, and I looked at them and I was like, wow, like maybe one day I could be there doing something like that on that large scale. And then another inspiration was a guy, I think his name was like Mangus Langwell or something. He was on Flickr. This is back when I was like 10, 11, 12, 13. And he created tons of like military type vehicles, helicopters, tanks. And I'd loved getting onto his Flickr account and just like copying his builds and building them like the best I could and modifying them with the pieces I had. And honestly, he's the first inspiration I had for mock building. Like it all started there, like creating those vehicles. And then I needed scenes and bases to house those vehicles. And then from there, it evolved into Star Wars. And now here we are today, working on a giant Utapau mock. So I'd say those two people were very big. Thank you guys for those great questions. They were awesome. Like that's, that makes my podcast so much better when I have great input and great questions like that to kind of fuel my ramblings. It just gives me, it gives me the ability to have multiple options, multiple mindsets and opinions in a one person podcast. So thank you guys. And next podcast, the next theme is going to be Lego Star Wars. So all your questions about Lego Star Wars and how it relates to me. I've come up with a few suggestions just to kind of hopefully help you guys understand like what I'm talking about. Like you could do problems with the Lego Star Wars line. Why do I love Lego Star Wars so much? How has Lego Star Wars influenced my love of Lego? Sorry, how has Star Wars influenced my love of Lego? So basically anything related to do with the Lego Star Wars line. I would love to take your guys' questions and hopefully have some more great conversations. Time for the third and final segment of my podcast, and that is YouTubing on a budget. Basically where I take a piece of technology, some kind of gadget, some doodad, that's kind of budget friendly, fairly cheap, that does a really good job. And then I do a little quick review and kind of give you guys my opinion on why I really enjoyed it and how it could possibly help your channel progress and improve. So today's YouTubing on a budget piece of technology is the lavalier microphone I have been using, or I guess I don't really use it anymore, but used to use. And this was, so last week I talked about Filmic Pro and I said that was like one of the first things I did to like improve the quality of my channel. So this microphone was literally the first thing I did to like improve my videos at all. Like, because in my first couple of videos, I just filmed with my phone and I talked so quietly just because, still getting used to YouTube, still learning how to express my personality and who I am. And so I was very quiet. And as soon as I got the microphone, my video quality just shot through the roof. And not only that, but my confidence did too, because it sounds so good. Like it's like a $13 microphone, but it makes your audio sound incredible. Like it's crazy how cheap it is and how good of a job it does. So I would highly recommend, if you're not using a lavalier microphone, to definitely get one and start using it. The nice thing about a lavalier is it's super simple. I have I've got this Blue Yeti microphone. I've got a shotgun mic that I mount on my camera. These are great microphones, but they're a little bit more complicated. You have to adjust settings. You have to find the right sound wave so it's not too loud or too quiet. But the lavalier microphone is just simple. You literally just plug it into your phone and clip it on and start talking. So I would highly recommend checking it out. I'll put a link down below in the description for that. Well, that wraps up episode 2 of A Man and His Bricks. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any ways on how you think it could improve or what you like about the podcast, please feel free to let me know down below in the comments. And don't forget to leave your questions down there as well. If I don't get to your question, it's not because your question was terrible and I didn't want to answer it. If I do end up getting too many questions that I'm not able to answer, I really do apologize if I'm not able to hit up everybody's, but I do really appreciate you commenting it nonetheless. And if I can't get it if I can't get to it on the podcast, I'll definitely answer it to the best of my abilities in the comments. Anyways, all that being said, if you like this video, don't forget to leave me a big thumbs up. And if you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing so you don't miss out on future content. But until next time, happy building.